And we are back. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. And in case you're just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome to Kenya's Gold, where the focus of the day is on taking a closer look at what has been happening in the coffee sector and also the effect of the coffee reforms that the government has been so keen about. Now, to talk to us about that and more, we do have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Peter Gikonyo, who is the chairman at Kenya Coffee Producers Association. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us today. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity
to
come and have a discussion about coffee.
Great.
As you have rightly said, my name is Peter Gikonyo, the chairman Kenya Coffee Producers Association, the association that speaks for the farmer. And I'm also a smallholder farmer from Murang'a County.
Great. Now, Peter, wakulima wa kahawa are not happy.
Yes.
And a lot of them are coming from regions that are popularly known as coffee growing regions. We have seen what was happening in central Kenya, Kirinyaga, for example. And we want to understand what exactly is the problem on ground and why does it feel that we are not making very tangible progress on the farmer's perspective. When you listen to the government, yes, there's a lot of amazing reforms that they're talking about, but ni kama bado haifiki vizuri kwa ground. Shida iko wapi?
Well, the major problem is usually based on the farmers understanding the coffee business. Because yes, the industry could be appearing that they're making progress. The government could be making progress in terms of reforms. But is the farmer on the ground understanding the business of coffee? Because the business of coffee, you need to look at it from the whole, through the whole value chain. And sometimes if you look at it from the previous regime, before we came into the new reforms, the transition is also very, very important because the farmers previously used to depend on the service providers and mainly on the marketing agents and the millers. And therefore, many things that were being done by the farmers, the transitioning was not there. So it was like the farmer need to come in and do what they were supposed to do, which is a good thing. So what we need to do and what we would like, we are also calling up the government to support is to capacity build and empower the farmer to be able to take charge of his business. Because an informed farmer will be a very different farmer if you compare that farmer from the past. Again, if you look at the coffees that have been going to the market, remember we had some challenges because the milling was an issue. The mills that were supposed to be operational, some of them previously were not working. But now they came in to do the business of milling coffee. So again, there were some challenges in terms of settings, when to mill. Again, there was a lot of backlog because most of the coffees was actually being milled by the new KPCU. So again, new KPCU machineries are very old, so there were a lot of breakdowns, a lot of interruptions, and therefore, before everything could settle, of course, now we are seeing that challenges transitioning into the prices. But again, if you look at the prices, we don't want to talk about the prices without looking at what is the background of these particular prices. Because the rate of payment to the farmer should be determined by the sale of the coffee. And the law is very clear. If you look at the Coffee General Regulations 2019, it is very clear that 20% is the maximum amount that should be deducted from the gross sale of the coffee farmer towards the expenses that are related to the coffee. And is that being adhered to? I would say no.
Right.
Because some are adhering to, some have even gone low as 5%. But what we are basically saying, if we are to follow the law, the farmer can be very keen and is able to determine how much he's going to get. Once the payments are, the dollars are converted, the farmer can comfortably be able to predetermine, based on the coffee that has been sold, how much is trickling down to the farmer if we adhere to the law. But most of the time, this is not happening. But we are expecting to start seeing that now that the government has already agreed to waive the debts. So we believe that going forward, some planning need to be done to accommodate to ensure that there is adherence with the law, so that the farmer can get a minimum of 80% of the sales, to the high of maybe even 90-95%.
Right. So speaking of prices, which you have expounded as you were speaking, there is a disparity from one society to another, because you'll find like those farmers in Kirinyaga were complaining that 78 per kilo is not enough. If you look at a society like Komodhai, they're getting 87 shilling per kilo, and other societies is either more or even lower than 78. What leads to that difference in figures, yet all of them are, you know, it's for 1 kg of coffee, and also it's causing a lot of fights among the farmers? Why those differences?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the first and foremost is we need to appreciate that in Kenya, are we talking about the commodity coffee or are we talking about the specialty coffee? Because there's a whole difference.
Right.
When we talk about commodities, when we talk about these beans in terms of size and the grades.
Right.
Because then we are talking about the sizes, not with the without considering what is included in those particular beans. When we are looking at the specialty coffee, we are talking about the CAP score. The CAP score will be determined by the attributes that are in that particular coffee. And for you to achieve maybe the specialty coffee, we are talking about a CAP score of about 80, 84 there, going upwards. That can be able to get into that specialty coffees. And therefore, we need to also look at, when we talk about the quality attributes, what are we talking about? What I can say, the same farmer can be able to produce all the grades that are there in the coffee. The same plant can also be able to produce all the grades in the same coffee. Why? It's because if you look at the grading, we're all talking about the sizes. So there are beans that are bigger than the others. There are beans that are smaller than the others. There are beans that are bigger, but in terms of weight, the weight is lower, or is less. But when it comes to the attributes, that depends on how have this coffee been grown. If coffee is grown under the normal weather that is favorable for the coffee, you are likely to get the coffee with all the qualities, attributes that are required in the coffee. Reason being, as the tree is growing, it's able to pick all the necessary nutrients from the soil, and it forms and it makes that bean to be what it is supposed to be.
Great.
Yes.
All right, so you'll just hold that thought for me. We take another break right now, but when we come back, we're going to dive deep into the conversation of European Union deforestation regulation and also have a look at quality, because we do have samples in the studio. See you after this short break.